Hi there, this is Dr. Keesha. I would love to have anyone that's listening to this right now join me and ask any questions that you might have. I've had a lot of emails lately that are asking me, how do I get out of an abusive relationship? How do I live my dreams? How do I meet my goals? So I created an abundance 5-day challenge at the beginning of the year. And as I created that challenge, I got lots more emails back from people with a lot of amazing stories. And I thought, you know what? Some of the stories were also infused with questions like, I would love to do what it is you're saying, but I'm having troubles with, I have to caregive my parents, or I have to caregive my husband or my children, or I'm seriously socioeconomically challenged financially, or I would like to do this, but I just can't. How can I break through? And so the reason I called this What's Holding You Back is because I wanted to address that. I get a lot of people who want to join my health coach certification program and become integrative health coaches. And they'll say, do I have enough time? Do I have enough money? Do I have enough drive and motivation? I'm not sure. How can I tell if this is the right time for me, Dr. Keesha? And really, the thing that I always say to them is really look inside and ask what your purpose is. What's your vision of what your mission is for this lifetime? What is it that you want to achieve? What's the legacy you want to leave behind? Do you want to leave behind I coulda, shoulda, woulda, or I always wanted to but never got to? Or do you want to leave behind a legacy of achieving your goals, achieving your dreams? When I was 12 years old, my parents went back to nursing school together and they became nurses. And this was really powerful for me to observe. Hi, Pamela. So Pamela is one of the ones that had to overcome barriers to becoming a health coach and figure out if she had the time and the energy for it. And now she's rocking it. So when my parents went back to nursing school, I was 12 and I got to watch, you know what? You can change your life circumstances if you want to at any time, no matter what. They were really kind of poor. My dad was in the Navy and my mom didn't work. And I remember when we go to the grocery store, she would keep a little red plastic calculator type thing with white buttons on the top, and she would click it for every cent that was being spent on the next thing that we put in the grocery cart. And we clipped coupons, and she would always ask me to pull the coupon for that particular thing out, and she'd keep such careful track of the grocery bill as we were going up and down the aisles. And she would look at this little red plastic thing and say, if I said, can we get this? And she would look at it and say, nope, we've already gone to our budget. We can't get any more. And she was really frugal and really thrifty. And that was great role modeling for me. But one of the other things it taught me was, okay, I need to make sure that in order to even eat, I've got to go to college. So I made sure that I went to college. But then after I went through school, I wasn't really happy with my profession. I was a nurse, just like my parents. And I wasn't happy giving out medications to my patients. I wasn't happy looking at them not getting better. I wasn't happy with watching the people in the intensive care unit be pumped full of drugs and then leaving without really understanding why they got there in the first place and how to prevent a recurrence of whatever it was that was going on for them. And I just thought, you know what, there's got to be a better way than this. And then I went into hospice and I started working with people as they were dying. And, in their last 6 months of life, you can do hospice if you have a terminal illness. And at that time, you get this amazing medical care. And, your spirituality is considered, your family's called in, everyone is consulted, and you have this amazing team of providers. And I began thinking, I'm happier in this line of work than I ever have been as a nurse. What if I took this idea of taking into consideration the environment, the family, the spirituality, the genetics, the context of the person, and doing it at the front end of their lives? And so I went into integrative medicine, and that's what I do now. And I help people prevent illnesses. I help them turn around chronic ones and even terminal ones so that they can reverse whatever's going on. And a lot of my patients are so smart. They're smarter than a lot of doctors out there. They have great big binders of information that they've highlighted and they've tabbed, and they bring it into me, and they've got the latest research, and they're what I call summit junkies. They watch all the summits and the docu-series, and they have great questions for me. They're really curious. And so they're asking me all these fantastic questions, and what they really need is how to individualize their care. All this information, like, is this thing that I heard on the brain summit appropriate for me? Is this thing that I heard on this gut summit appropriate for me? And so I can help them because I help them with testing, and then we go through their genetics, and we talk about their past stressors, and we heal their digestive system, and we individualize and personalize everything. And then they have all their friends and their family coming to them and having, questions asked of them because they were able to reverse their own stuff. So what I decided was to start a health coaching program based on these people that were coming to me, and give them an opportunity to be able to make a living doing what they were so passionately engaged in the first place. And I have this most amazing tribe of people in the Academy for Integrative Medicine. Right, Pamela? It's an amazing group of people, and of course she's one of them. And I do case studies every week, and they come on and they're live, and they ask the most intelligent questions, and they present the most amazing cases, and it's very comprehensive, and it's a look at the entire life of the person. So when I ask the question, what's holding you back? Really look at what your dreams are. And I think about this like with my parents, my mom going around with this little red plastic, I don't even know what you would call it. It was it wasn't electronic, it was sort of a calculator of sorts, and really counting every single penny, and living with, kind of poverty snapping at our heels at all times while my dad was in the military. And being able to make her bills every month while my dad was out to sea and 2 kids. And then setting a goal to do something that she really wanted to do, which she wanted to be a nurse. She went down, she took the little test for it, she applied, and she became a nurse. So what I want to say is, in that moment, my dad the next week said, gosh, I think I would like to do that too. And they went to school together. They took a jump, they took a leap, they overcame their fear, and they were so afraid. And I did the same thing when I went to graduate school. I thought, what, I'm tired of handing out drugs. I'm tired of seeing the same people day in, month in, month out, year in, year out, coming back with these infections and the same things going on with them over and over and over again, when I know there's a different way. And it was when I got my own autoimmune disease and reversed it that I realized there is a different way. And I took a leap. I had 4 children, and I went back to graduate school. So not only did I really not have the time, but I also didn't have the money. And I had to take out a loan. And, it had to have faith that this is the thing that I wanted to do. This was my purpose in life. This was what, could be called your dharma. And I just had enough faith and, went back to school, and then I had to start my own business again. That's a huge thing. My daughter's going through this right now, and she keeps coming back to me and saying, oh, now I know what you mean. When you jump off the cliff and wonder if, life has your back, it's scary. And I said, that's right. And she said, but I'm seeing, if I apply myself and I set my intentions very clearly, that it can happen. And I'm seeing how it can turn around. And that's what I want to say to everybody. Be super clear about your intention. If becoming a health coach is the thing that you want to do, then do it. And don't wait to, like some of my patients, to get diagnosed with a disease. That's exactly what happened to me, actually. Before you say, I want to really take life and I want to live it every minute. I want to do what I'm meant to do. Take the time every day and write down, what are your dreams? What are your dreams? And start reverse engineering that dream. and jump into it. If time is the barrier that you have in your mind, time stretches. You know, like I said, I went to graduate school with 4 children, started a business with 4 children, and time just seemed to stretch. I find that if I have nothing to do in my day, like nothing scheduled, nothing planned, which hardly ever happens anymore, but I'm not that efficient with my time. I can waste time like nobody's business. But when I have a lot of things on my calendar and on my plate, I'm much more efficient. It does seem that time stretches, especially when you're applying it to living a purpose-driven life. Like you know it's your mission. Then time happens to have a way of appearing for you. And that won't include watching reruns of Netflix and binge watching episodes of whatever. And that's, you know, when people say, how do you get done all that you get done? I say, well, that's what I don't do, right? I don't watch television, and I really keep my time very, very efficient. So that's one thing. If it's money that's your barrier, then think about taking a loan. That's what, you know, for me, it was a loan to go back to school. And I tell people that are looking at health coaching program, just treat it like school. Take out a loan if you need to, and then that keeps you motivated to pay it back. I hate being in debt. And so what I did is when I took out my loan to go back to school, and I also had to take out a loan when I was learning how to start my own business and I had to do business coaching, I took out a loan. I got very motivated and paid it back because I don't like to be in debt. So the resources that you need in terms of support, whatever that looks like, are available to you if you don't shut them down before you even ask. And that's something we do. We just assume, right? We assume that it's not going to be available for us. Sometimes I'll get an email that says, well, my family won't support me in healthy eating or in meeting my goals or doing what I want to do or exercising, whatever it is. And what you want to understand is you have actually created that for yourself. And this is a really important topic that I talk a lot about with my patients. One day, I told my children when I was in graduate school, this year I can't do the big, we call it Mad Mabel's, the big Halloween party. Hi, Julie. So Julie's familiar with Mad Mabel's, I think. So I used to have this huge Halloween party. It was almost bigger than Christmas in my household. And I would dress up as this really frightening character called Mabel. And I would create this mixed up menu for them. They'd invite all their friends over, and we would have this incredible evening of fun for Halloween. And Mabel was this crazy wild character who would even throw food. I mean, I got to do whatever I wanted to do. And it was a big thing that all the kids look forward to. We had a, what do they call them? Those fog machines, you know, that made fog in the house and candles everywhere and music. And one year I was in the middle of finals and I said to my kids, I can't do Mad Mabel's this year, which was the first time in years that I hadn't done it. And they were so upset. I expected them to say, oh, that's okay, Mom. You know, we do it every year. I understand you're busy. And they weren't that way. And I thought, wow, these guys are so selfish. What's going on with them? And I was kind of upset. And I remember sitting in my room thinking about this, feeling really guilty because I wasn't giving them the thing that we had done every single year, and they were upset about it. And then I thought, oh, I actually created these monsters. I'm the one that made them expect all of this magic for every holiday. So I created it. It's not their fault. So I need to talk to them about that. So I sat them down and I said, all right, I created your expectations. I know that. And now I'm going to help you reset them. So this was a gift I gave you every year. It was not to be expected. And we're a team, all of us, and you don't get to just like expect everything to happen for you. And they really got that. And I said, it's not my job to make you happy. It's my job to give you the tools so that you can make yourself happy. And that was a really big breakthrough in my parenting with them. So that's another thing that I'll tell people. If you want to really do something like, you know, go into the health coaching program and you feel like you don't have time or you feel like your family won't support you, you have to retrain your family for their expectations. If you're trying to change your family's diet and make it healthier, you have to retrain them. You have to understand that anytime that you take on something new that has to have some retraining, you've got to be patient with it. And you've got to have some compassion for everyone that's being retrained. And then also kind of stick to your guns. So it's called boundary setting. So that's a really important thing. And I find that a lot of mothers in particular have a difficult time with this. So remember, don't put your dreams on hold because your spouse won't support you or your children you feel like can't support you in it. Just you support you, and then put that energy outward for everyone to behave as a team, because you, of course, would show up for them to support them if they had a dream and a goal, and you've probably been doing that your whole lives. So really important. So what I would ask is, if you've always wanted to help other people and you've always wanted to become a health coach and you have these ideas of where you can't do it, join me on the webinar tomorrow night, because we have a webinar all about that. And if you feel like, oh, I was never good in school and I don't know if I can manage this, then remember that there are all kinds of different ways of learning. And this tribe of people that have come together in the academy are very incredibly supportive. And you can even drop out for a really long time and then come back in. It just doesn't matter. It's 6 months, and you can extend that for 10 years if you want to. So if you've been gone for a while, I'm speaking to someone that's here right now, and you want to come back in, then do that, because it's never too late. So I want to know what's holding each of you back from your dream. What's going on? What are the barriers that come up for you? What are the reasons? And I want you to become unreasonable. I want you to become unreasonable when it comes to rationalizing why you can't do something, and really make you the person that you're rooting for. Because just like they say on the airplane, you have to give yourself oxygen before you give it to your child. You have to live your dreams before you're going to be super effective in helping someone else do theirs. And like what my parents did, they really role modeled how to do that, how to change your career if you want to, how to increase your knowledge, how to do something new, even when you're raising children. And that was big for me to be able to observe that. And then my kids have turned around and said, we watched you do that, and they say they also have that understanding for themselves. So if you are, I'm going to say, martyr-ish, then your kids are watching that, and they're going to pick it up. If you are somebody that is on your own side and making sure that you live your highest potential, they're going to pick that up. So what's holding you back? What's holding you back from anything that you want to do? Remember that when we get to be about, so I'm 53 in next month, and when we enter this stage of life and older, so anywhere from 50 to you die, your stage of life is legacy leaving. So if you're listening to me and you're in this stage of life or you're approaching it, it's all about legacy. And it's generativity versus regret is the stage of life. And so you want to look and say, gosh, did I generate what it was that I really wanted to leave behind? Or do I regret some choices I made? And take that time to change, make new choices, transform whatever it is that you might regret. I think there's nothing worse than dying with regret. So think about that, and don't let anything hold you back, because you don't want to have regret. You don't want to think about a fork in the road and you wish you would have taken the other one. You can always, always change. Wherever your trajectory is, just make a new change. And then changing it by 1 degree on a compass, you get to a whole new trajectory. Okay, everybody. Anyone have any questions about overcoming obstacles and barriers and objections to living the life of your dreams? I want to hear about them. You can post underneath here, ask questions, leave comments. I think it's a important thing for each of us to light up as bright as we can. I was struck by lightning last September, and when I was struck by lightning, I left my body. I kind of had a little near-death experience, and one of the things that I saw was this grid of light that held our earth together. It was surrounding our earth like a mesh net sort of energy, and each of those little bars of light that were in this geometrical shape around the earth represented each one of us. And what I saw was how important each one of us are. That if we're not lit up to our very, very brightest, it actually weakens the grid that holds life together here on the planet. And I realized that we're instruments of God. Like that light, us reaching our potential, is what helps sustain life itself. So each of you is that important. You're that important. So if you're filled with fear, then you can't have love. And you can't reach your goals, and you can't light up. And so overcoming that fear and really figuring out what's holding you back from loving completely is what's going to dim that light. Thinking you can't, or you shouldn't, or you're not deserving, or you're not worthy. It dims that little light, which then creates weakness in that grid. So don't get to the point where you have to be struck by lightning to see that. I must be kind of a hard nut. I had to get struck by lightning. So you're very important individually, and your light, you need to shine it so bright that all of us can see it. And you each bring your own gifts to this world. And, you know, it's really not, let's see, what's the word I'm looking for? It's not optional. You really, really have to shine that light. You have to reveal your gifts because they've been given to you by God, by the divine. And, you know, it's up to us, since we've been blessed with that gift, to then reveal it and to show it and then share it with each one of the other people we share the earth with. So, with that being said, shine your light the brightest. And if you have always wanted to be in healthcare and you think that ship has sailed, join me on the webinar tomorrow night for the Health Coach Certification Program. Julie says, thanks, Keesha. I've been feeling stuck in your voice. Oh, that's so nice. Oh, I love your light too, dear friend. Good night, everybody.